Hi everyone and welcome. I have cycled a lot in my life and came across a lot of problems on my way. One of the biggest hurdles is the lights of bicycles. I started converting simple headlights into LED powered bicycle lights over 10 years ago. So this is one of them. One of these is still in use on my folding bicycle. The biggest pain in the butt are the taillights. I encountered a lot of problems with these while I really needed them. For instance, the electrical contacts gave out in here, the batteries died, some batteries leaked, there was a lot of problems with corrosion, there's a very small light source that is easily covered by something, and there are a lot of other things I encountered with them. So I started to design my own bicycle light. My first attempt in aluminium came out okay, but there are still a few aspects to improve. There was still no way for the cable to enter the light, so I just drilled a hole in the back. So on the second and the third version, I added some extra cable management system, and I also added a small hole right there for the cable to feed through. I also added some pockets here to make it lighter. The lens is flat here, and there would be a gasket in between the lens and the body, but that wouldn't work really well to seal it because there needs to be a lot of places to hold it down. The fourth test model features a lens with a rim that goes all the way around and fits over the body with a gasket on the side. The sides are also slightly at an angle so that the fit is always really good. The part for connecting the light to the bicycle worked really well. It can be used in both the 50mm and the 80mm standard bicycle spacing for taillights. So I came up with this system of the dual slot use, and for this I needed some M5 screws with a 2mm flat head.
At first I was planning on buying these screws, but after looking around for them I could only find two places that sell them. Price is somewhere between €1 and €1.75 for one screw when buying in bulk. Then I started thinking, can I make these screws myself? Mill them down and chamfer them? So I looked up the price for the regular M5x12 screws, and they are between 3 and 5 cents a piece when buying in bulk. So I have about a little over 90 euro cents to play with them.
I have this piece of scrap aluminum here, and I'm going to use it to make a fixture to mill off the heads of the screws I'm going to make.
I really need better cooling on my CNC, something not as manual like it is now. I also milled the holes to hold the fixture down. The first two hex holes were a bit too big, so I had to make them again and decided to make them smaller and creep my way up until they fit perfectly. When I had the size down, I machined my first screws. To mill the screws I use a 4-flute carbide non-coated end mill, which works okay, but I like to get a coated 6mm end mill, which I can push a little bit harder through the material. For the chamfer and the engraving I used the Seiko Jabro J29. This one works great for the engraving, but gets damaged easily when chamfering, so I will have to use a proper chamfer end mill for that.
I really like the look of it. So when we look under my makeshift microscope, we can see that the machining is quite okay in the center. There is still a part that is not machined correctly, and that has been compensated by making the swivel go inward a little bit more. So, and we can see that on the edge The chamfer is a little bit too big and the letters are a bit too close to the edge, so there is a small part that is cut off. So I sanded down the head a little bit with 220 grit sandpaper. Now you can see the letters really clearly, but I think I like to look better the way it was before. This should not be too loose, because then it will fall out too easily. So it's perfect.
I machined 26 more holes and started mounting screws for a test run. I also installed a fog buster on my CNC. I am happy that I went for the big pane once instead of a pane every time I use it. A fog buster just works fantastic. Right now I have a decent starting recipe for making my own screws. I still need to fine-tune it, but the results are already okay. So how did we do on the viability? The total machining time and setup time is about 30 minutes for 27 parts. About 8 minutes are spent on engraving. In total we spent a little over 1 minute per part. It should be doable to get the time under 1 minute. So this is a cost of about 85 cents when running without an operator. The cost is about the same if I buy or make them myself, but there are some big advantages on making these myself. The parts are easier to get. I'm not dependent on 1 or 2 companies that might have these bolts and usually have a lead time that is really long for these kind of parts. This is now eliminated. I can even find a box of these in the local hardware store. When I really need them, I will always have a supply. Another big advantage is that I can do a custom engraving, which would otherwise add extra cost. The third advantage is that I can also do other types of materials if I wanted to. Maybe even titanium for the weight we need.
After about 30 engravings, the tip looks a little bit worn. At the edge over there's more damage, and that's where the tool is used to chamfer the bolts. This is everything for this video. I have a good recipe for milling down these screws. I have to tweak it still a little bit, but they are coming out quite nice at the moment. And I hope you will join me next time, where I will discuss more stuff related to making this taillight. Like for instance the lens and the electronics and other stuff. So have a good day and see you next time.